Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm sorry that I've been gone for so long. It's been literally so crazy over Christmas and New Year's and everything that was going on with family and work, because work was obviously crazy over the Christmas period. So I haven't really had time to sit down and film, but I'm back and I'm so happy to be able to live this year with you guys and just share my life and what I'm doing and everything like that. So on a serious note, before I started my channel, I was just praying to God about what He wanted me to do with it and where He wanted to lead me. So basically He told me that He wants me to use this to just edify Him and to share my testimony about where He's taken me and how I've gotten to where I am now. And honestly, it's been a crazy journey. This is a very hard video to sit here and film. It's hard to tell you guys because this is such a personal part of my life, and not many people know this about me. I've only told a very few people about my story and my testimony of how I came to the Lord. So basically I was going to write this all down on a piece of paper and, you know, share it off that, but God was sort of like, no, hold up Jasmine, you need to share this from your heart, you don't need to write it down, like just I'll speak to you and you can just what, if you know what I mean. So it has been a very crazy journey. Starting from the start, I guess, I was born on the 1st of September 1999 on the Gold Coast. I grew up in a 7-day Adventist family. To be honest, I don't even know what 7-day Adventists are, I guess. It's more sort of like a religion, you know how there's Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Catholics, like all that. It's sort of like a religion, but as a Christian we don't really like to call ourselves religious. It's more sort of having a relationship with Christ. It's not all about, you know, rules and regulations and stuff like that. So yeah, I grew up in a 7-day Adventist home. At the age of 10 or 11 years old, we came to Christianity. My sister started going to church and she brought me along with her to the youth group, which I absolutely loved. I remember walking in for the first time and just feeling just so much peace and positivity, and it was just like I sort of felt home, even though I didn't know anyone. I didn't know, you know, what this whole Christian thing was about, but I just sort of felt home, and it was really, really nice. At the age of 12 years old, I remember giving my heart to the Lord at one of the youth group services, and from then on my life completely changed. I remember that night just feeling so much peace in my heart, and I knew that Christ was there with me, but I think I was too young to sort of understand how to have a relationship with God and how to walk with Him in His will for my life. I never really had any Christian friends to help me throughout this crazy journey, so it was really hard for me to stay on track with God. So at the age of 13, I dropped out of school and started doing homeschool, and I guess that's sort of where my life went downhill. I made friends with the wrong people. I started smoking, drinking, sleeping around, I guess. I was sort of just looking for fulfillment in the world and not in God, and to be honest, I never felt fulfilled, because you can't be fulfilled in worldly things. You can only be fulfilled in Christ alone. So I remember one day having a really, really bad argument with my parents, and I'd met this guy on Facebook, and he came and picked me up. I ran away from home, he came and picked me up, took me to his house. We all started drinking. I started drinking. It was the first time that I had ever had alcohol, and you know, the first time you have alcohol, you're sort of just out of it straight away. I remember going up to his bedroom. Things happened, and that was the night that I lost my virginity. He didn't talk to me after that. The police got involved and everything like that, since I ran away from home, and he was a lot older than I was. Ever since then, I had a really, really bad depression. It was hard for me to get out of bed. I was cutting myself. I was suicidal. I had attempted to kill myself a few times, but thank God never succeeded. So a while after that, I'd met this guy from youth, and I went to youth camp. We fell madly in love with each other. We were together for 1.5 years. He was a Christian, but he didn't identify himself as a good Christian. He was sort of like a lukewarm Christian, as we like to call it. And with him, I sort of fell away from God, started smoking, drinking, everything like that. We broke up 1.5 years later, and I sort of just fell in and out of relationships and in and out of love with guys that I barely even knew. I did meet this guy. We dated for 7 months, and that was a great relationship. I remember he was so lovely and he was so kind to me, and we were friends for ages after that. But I remember a few months, I think about 6 months after me and him broke up, I met this guy through a friend, and he was beautiful at the start. He was so nice, he was so kind, he was charming, he treated me exactly how I wanted to be treated. But after about a month of us dating, he turned into a completely different person, like completely. I didn't know what was going on. I was so in love with him that I didn't care how he treated me. It was sort of like I wanted him to love me, and that was all. I didn't care about anything else, and that was the biggest mistake of my life. I remember he used to sit there and laugh at evil things. Like he would, we started talking about robbing people and stealing from people, and he wanted to deal drugs, and it was just, everything had changed completely. It was like God wasn't even in the picture anymore. He just had left my life, and he felt so far away, and this thing had taken over my body that I can't even explain. I remember one day we went to the convention center and we were sitting at the front, and he asked me if he could slap me across the face to see how much pain I could take. And because this thing had taken over my body, I said yes, and he slapped me about 6 times across the face. And straight after that, he asked me if I could engrave his initials into my leg to prove how much I love him. And I don't remember if I said yes or no, or if I even responded to that. It was so long ago, but I remember waking up the next morning and grabbing a pin from my mum's sewing kit and engraving his initials into my leg. And I sent him videos, photos, and he was enjoying it. He said that he liked to see me in pain, and he liked to see me hurting myself, to prove how much I loved him. From that moment I knew I was going insane, but I couldn't stop it. It was like this thing had taken over my body, and I just couldn't control what I was doing or what I was saying or anything like that. It was so weird and foreign to me. I couldn't even say Jesus' name. I couldn't say God. I couldn't say Jesus. I couldn't come into his presence, like nothing like that. It's like he was just completely gone out of my mind, and this thing taken over. And I remember me sitting in my room one night, and we just had a huge fight, and I was like, this is it, like I'm done, like I can't do this anymore. To prove to him how much he's hurting me and how much I love him, I need to try and kill myself. So I remember sitting in my bed, and I took 9 to 14 Panadine forts, and I remember things started fading in and out, and it was so scary, but for some reason I was at peace with it. About 10 minutes into that, I remember my friend calls me up, and she's like, hey, what's going on, like how are you feeling? And I just blurted out everything, and I told her exactly what had happened, what I'd done, that I had taken the Panadine forts, and she came over straight away with her boyfriend and took me to the hospital. I remember I was in the hospital for about 2 days, kept getting locked up in a padded room, and the counsellor would come in and talk to me, and it was just a crazy mess. It was insane. So I got taken out of hospital, came back home, and my best friend Paige, she's a lifesaver. I love her so much. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Paige. I love you so much, and everything you've done for me, you mean the world to me. But I remember she called Pastor John from our church, and he came straight to my house and prayed for me. I remember I was standing in my room with Pastor John, Paige, and me. There was Pastor John, Paige, me here, and then the bed was behind. So he was standing there praying for me, and he put his hand on my head and just told whatever spirit that was inside of me to leave. And in that moment, I remember shaking, I remember hyperventilating, and I fell on the bed, completely just fell. And I was sitting there hyperventilating, and I could feel this thing just trying to leave my body, and eventually it did. As he kept praying, I felt this thing leave, and I just felt peace just flood over me from head to toe, and I knew that that was God. I remember from that day forward, I started going to church. I started reading my Bible every day and doing everything a Christian would, but I still didn't really understand the true meaning of having a personal relationship with God and following his will for my life. I fell in and out of God so many times, as teenagers do. So fast forward a few months, I met an amazing Christian guy. His family was beautiful, he was beautiful, he treated me really well, but I guess that wasn't God's plan for my life. He did teach me how to be in a proper, mature Christian relationship, and if it wasn't for him coming into my life, I wouldn't be as strong in my relationship with God as I am now, and I'm so thankful to God for bringing him into my life. But after that, so much stuff happened. I turned 18, as you know, in Australia, 18-year-olds can go clubbing. That was a thing for about 4 weeks after my birthday. All I did was go clubbing, was drinking. I started smoking. I started seeing this guy that I was friends with for about 4 years beforehand, and he didn't treat me well at all. Things went downhill from there. My depression started coming back, and I could feel it trying to take over my body. This depression and this feeling of just emptiness and hopelessness. I remember after I had ended things completely with him, we weren't dating, we were just sort of, we were in the seeing stage. Just because of everything that was going on, I felt so empty, I felt so depressed. I remember my dog died, my little puppy Zara, which I miss so much. She was such a beautiful dog. But I remember one night, I was supposed to be going to a business meeting with my friend. We went to Max Brenner's, and I got a phone call saying that Zara's going to die, she's passing away. And I already had so much going on in my head just with life and everything, and I was so depressed. And I remember telling my friend, like, sorry, I can't come to this business meeting, I just need some time alone. I remember driving up to the top of this mountain that we have on the Gold Coast called the Panorama, which has an amazing view, and just sitting up there and just asking God why. Like where has he gone? Why has he left me? Like, I don't understand where I'm supposed to go from here on out. And I get a call from the friend that I was supposed to go to the business meeting with, and he came up and just started talking to me, and I confessed everything to him, like what had been going on in my life, that I'd started smoking, drinking, about everything that happened with that guy. And he started crying, I started crying. It was a big we were both emotional wrecks. But he started talking to me about God and how much he loves me and how much he wants me to come back. Like, all I need to do is take that step forward and he'll come running back to me. And I remember on my drive home just screaming out to God in the car, absolutely screaming out to God, because I needed him so badly. I needed him there. I needed his peace and comfort in this time of need. I remember declaring that all those chains being broken off my life, all anxiety, all depression, all hurt, all chains from my past, all emotional soul ties with different boys that I'd slept with, and just asking God to break every single chain over my life. I remember screaming out to God with music blaring. I think I had Unstoppable Love just blaring in my car. And I remember in that moment of me screaming out to God, I just felt God's love just pour over my body. I felt those chains being broken over my life. I just felt so much peace, and it's like he was there with me. It was literally like the heavens had been opened over my life, and he was just raining down on me, and I can't explain the feeling. And ever since then, honestly, I've grown so much as a Christian, it's insane. Like, before that night, I could never speak to people without getting awkward or not being able to get my words out right. I could never pray for people. I could never, tell people about God. I could never be in a group without having anxiety. Just from then on forward, like, I've just grown so much in him, and he's revealed himself to me every single day from me just being in his word and wanting and being eager to learn more about him. It's so crazy how much I've grown since then. He gave me so much confidence and so much strength in him, and I think that's so important, because I used to try and find confidence in myself or in others, but that would never fulfill me. I believe that you can only find true confidence in the Lord, and the Lord only. Ever since I've been looking to him for my confidence and for my strength and for my comfort, I have been 100% satisfied. I can't explain the feeling of just being in God's presence and being in his word and hearing him speak to me and guide me through everyday life. Just the feeling that I get from that it's phenomenal. I can't explain it. If you're a Christian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've always had people prophesy over my life that I'm going to be a leader, and I never, ever used to think that, ever, because I was so shy. I had so much anxiety. I had just this thing holding me back that I didn't know what it was, but it was just something that was holding me back from being truly confident in God. Ever since that night, God's given me so many opportunities to lead. I'm in GLP, so Glow Leadership Program. Glow is the church that I go to on the Gold Coast. It's phenomenal. If you haven't found a church or you want to come to a church, I definitely recommend coming to Glow, because it is incredible and it's completely changed my outlook on God. But yeah, basically I've gotten to where I am now because of God and God only, and all the praise and glory goes back to him in absolutely everything I do. I'm so grateful for where I am now and how much I've grown. And I'm grateful for those situations that he put me through, even with all the bad relationships I went through, all the hurt, all the depression, all the suicidal thoughts. If it wasn't for those, I wouldn't have grown into the person that I am now, and I'm so strong because of those situations. I don't have any regrets of the past, even though it may seem that what I did was wrong, and it was wrong, but that I believe that God put me through those things so I can share this to you guys. And any girl or guy who's going through depression or a bad relationship or through suicidal thoughts, I just encourage you just to press into God, because he is the only answer. You can't look to other people for fulfillment or for happiness. I believe you can only find true happiness and true confidence and strength in God and in Jesus. When I turned 18, a few weeks after that, I got tattooed on the side of my ribs Jeremiah 29:11. And it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope." And I believe that that's so true. Like, God has an amazing plan for your life, and it's not a plan that's going to harm you, because God can never give you something that you can't handle. He will never put a situation in your life that he won't help you through or that you won't get through, because he loves you so much. And honestly, if God is for us, who can come against us? But I just want to encourage you guys to keep persevering in him, keep looking to him for fulfillment and for comfort and for peace, and God will give you the desires of your heart. So I love you guys. I want to thank you so much for sitting here and listening to my testimony. I'm sorry that it was long and probably a bit confusing, because so much stuff has happened and I've missed a lot of stuff, but I will make another video one day about sort of the in-between things of what happened and a future update of what God's doing in my life. But yeah, I hope you guys have a very blessed day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!